Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this particular video, we'll be looking into the MCP Model Context Protocols architecture. So, here the MCP follows a client server host architecture, something like this particular image. Here you can see this is how the architecture of MCP looks like. Here you can see there is a host, there are clients, and there are servers. So how these particular things are actually significant, how the communication happens between these, so that the architecture completely how executes a particular task. Let's have a look at it one by one. So this particular architecture of MCP is capable of discovering the available capabilities of the servers. It helps to fetch the context or the data. It executes different actions like tool calling and stuffs. Also, it return the results in a very structured format. So basically here MCP follows a very a strict structured format always in the course of communication. So let's have a look at each of the stages in MCP architecture one by one, starting off with the host. So a host in MCP architecture acts as a top level program which uses the AI agents. So you can think any host as an application, an IDE, which is used as an interface for the user. Any chat applications, enterprise applications can be called as a host. So let's say your VS Code, where you actually enter a user query just to create code or maybe for debugging or any of the extensions like Cline or Roo code. So those particular interfaces where you actually interact with the AI is nothing but the host. Now, as said, host is the top level program which initiates the user request and integrates the response back into the UI or workflow. So basically, you can think this as a starting point of whatever process is going to be started. Here, the process starts by the user query, and then here only the process ends. Basically, for that particular user query, here only you will get the solution of it. Now, what it exactly does, it presents the AI interface to users, as already discussed. It holds the LLM agent that will use the MCP to get the external context or invoke the actions. So basically, it acts as a bind for the MCP to have an access of LLM. So, in short, we can say that the host packages user questions and interaction for the client to send the MCP stack. So I hope the understanding of the host stage in the MCP architecture is clear to you all. Now let's move on to the next step, that is the client. A client in MCP is very crucial. Now in the previous slide we discussed what exactly a host is. Now whenever a user puts a particular query into the interface of chat app, the processing of it, taking that particular user query for execution. Now where it executes doesn't matter, but taking that to the actual point wherever it has to go is done by the client. So it acts as a connector, a bridge inside the host that talks with the servers, or I would say the actual MCP. Now it's the work of the client to format the request, the user intent, tool list, or context. So basically, a user puts a natural language query only, right? We only put some English words. Taking that particular user query and putting it in a particular format which will be understandable by the entire process is done by this particular client. Now that contains user intent, tools list. Now a tools list is nothing but the different task that particular agent can handle, the context, the necessary information that is required to answer your query. Everything is binded and put in a structured way through this particular client. Now, this formats the request into the standardized messages and sends them to the MCP servers. So, as said, it acts as a connector. It takes the user query, a natural language query, and converts it into a structured format, which actually MCP server can understand, and takes that structured format to the MCP servers for the further processing. Now, key functions of the client is that it handles serialization, deserialization of MCP messages. So, this process is nothing but converting your So the serialization and deserialization is nothing but the process. Serialization means converting your user query, natural language query, into a structured format, and deserialization is nothing but converting it back to the user query, or I would say natural language response. So this work is done by the client. It converts the model request into a JSON RPC 2.0 frames. So basically, this structured format, whatever I am saying, is nothing but a JSON RPC format, which is nothing but a remote procedural call. So like how hypertext transfer protocol is, it takes the structured queries, and it also performs certain communication, right? The same way this RPC also works. So JSON RPC 2.0, on top of which the MCP, entire MCP communication works. So the conversion of your query to this particular format is done by client. It manages the session control, retries, errors, and states. Even in HTTP, if you know, it also has certain rules and regulations that it follows. For example, the error codes 404, 405, 500, all this error codes it follows, right? Similarly, it has certain success codes also, and it also has certain retries code. So everything like session controlling, the management of the proper execution of the entire process is taken care by this particular JSON RPC also. So continuous tracking of whether the particular task is getting executed or it fails or it is on hold, everything is taken care by this particular way of communication, that is JSON RPC. The client acts as an RPC bridge between the host, LLM, and the external services. So, in short, I would say that the client shields the host from low level protocol details and ensures the consistent messaging. So, I hope now you understand how important this particular client is. You can see in the diagram also, this is your host, which is nothing but an application wherever you put your queries. This particular host is situated with clients. So, there can be multiple clients. One single host can have multiple clients of the communication between the host and that particular server for which that particular client is dedicated to. So I hope this particular thing is clear to you all. The significance of client is very crucial, so it's very necessary for you to understand the client task in the MCP architecture. So I hope it is clear. Now let's move on to the next component of this particular architecture, that is nothing but the server. Server is again yet another crucial component in the entire MCP architecture. Server involves a lot of things in it. So the server is nothing but an external service implementing the MCP specification to expose tools, data, and capabilities. So basically, whatever communication the client does is between your host and the server. Host gives the query to be executed. Client takes that query into a proper format and makes that query reach to a particular server which is relevant, which is important. So server acts as an external service which implements the MCP specification to expose tools, data, and capabilities. So think of a server as a hub wherein it contains the different capabilities, or I would say the different tools defined. So let's say there is a server. Now in very layman term, I'm explaining you what exactly a server is. See, let's say there is a server which is dedicated to perform calculations. So it is called as a calculator server. Now that calculator server, as the name suggests, it will be capable of calculating anything, right? As per the user query, let's say user asks for adding two numbers, that server which is dedicated for calculations, the query will reach to that particular server, whatever operation which has to be performed, like adding two numbers, right? So that server will have different capabilities. Let's say add, subtract, multiply, division, square root, squaring, and all those stuffs. Different calculation operations can be there, integration, differentiation, and all those stuffs. So all these definitions of each and every operation, like add, subtract, everything will be defined for that. Everything will be defined in that particular server. So each operation that is performed is called as a tool. Okay, addition is one tool, subtraction is one tool. Based on the user query, those tools in that particular server will be called. Now, a query can ask for a single tool to be called or can ask for multiple tools in a single call. So, every single server will have a specification of tools. It can also have a specification of data. Now, data can be any static file. For example, let's say there is a GitHub MCP server. Now, in that, we have README files, right? So, let's say if a particular user asks for information for a particular repository, which it gives in the user message, then in that case, the reference to that particular the reference for answering that particular query will be always present in that particular readme file. So that is a static file, right? So that comes under the data section of the server, and it can have other capabilities too. So in short, I hope server's overview is clear to you all. This server is responsible for connecting to real systems, databases, APIs, files, and etc. So as already discussed, it provides tools, means it provides tools, resources, and prompts. So tools are nothing but actions that AI can trigger. For example, executing the SQL queries, or maybe weather APIs, calendar APIs, web search. It can also be act. It can also act as a server. Next, resources. So basically, this server provides resources like structured data or context available for reference. For example, files. If you remember, I have that particular example of GitHub README file. This comes under the resources section. Next, we have prompts, standardized templates for helping the LLM generate calls and interpret results. So basically, as I already said, that one particular server can have multiple tools. Now, it's always important that whenever a particular user message reaches to a particular server, the server should be capable of calling the appropriate tool for that particular user query. So where so this is where this particular prompt section comes. So server can also have a storage for prompts which contains standardized templates. This will help the LLM generate calls or interpret the results. Calling particular appropriate tool will be helpful. So in short, I would say that servers expose these into a standardized schema, so AI models don't need bespoke integration logic for each and every tool. So I hope this server component in MCP architecture is clear to you all. So here, if you come to this particular diagram, here you can see we already have seen this particular part, host, client. Now, if you look at the right hand side, we have three servers over here: server 1, server 2, and server 3. Now, server can be on local machine also. It can also be on the internet. It can also be on different location, different computers also. So here you can see we have server 1 of files and Git. We have server 2 of database, and each of these servers have its own local resources. Then we have server 3, which is on the internet, like external API, like I already have given an example of weather or web search. So this is on the internet, right? We don't have the logic which is present on our local system. So a server can be anywhere, irrespective of that particular location. So server can be anywhere. Now over here you can see, if the client sends any particular request, that request is taken by the client. If the user gives any particular request to the host, the client takes that request it to a particular dedicated server as per the requirement of the server. So whenever a user puts a particular query in the application, which is nothing but the host, client takes that particular query, packages it into a proper format, and as per the query type, whichever server is required, it takes that to that particular server. Let's say it requires the server 3 external API, let's say for web search. So it will take this query to this particular server. Here it will perform certain actions, like for example it will call the web search API, for example Tably search or DuckDuckGo search, collect the appropriate information, take this particular information, puts it in a particular format, sends it back to the client. The client will take this particular information, sends it back to the host where the LLM is present, and the LLM will finally generate a response and will give it back to the user. So this is how in short the communication happens. We'll also see an example now how the communication works. So this is how a communication takes place inside the MCP architecture. So first the user puts a query, show today's sales data. So this particular query will be inputted by the user in the host app UI. Next, what client will do is client will simply take this particular query and it will do a handshake between the host and your server. Now how it does that? With the help of this mapping. Now mapping is done as per the JSON RPC 2.0 format. This particular simple user query, you can see show today's sales data. This is a natural language query. It is now in a format of a dictionary, where the key is method and value is get sales data. This JSON RPC is made as per the definitions of the tools or functions which are for a particular dedicated server. Now this will be taken to this particular dedicated server. Now whether it is a Python code or an API or SQL database, it will be sent to that will be executed, and whatever information is being retrieved from that particular server, it will be given back to the client will take it to the LLM, and AI will generate a response for that particular retrieved information. So finally the LLM's response, with the help of that context which client provide, uh, will be given back to the user. So you can see today's sales is this much dollars from 87 orders. So this is how the communication takes place in the MCP. I hope this particular thing is clear. I hope you understood every single concept in this particular architecture. It's very crucial. So if you don't understand it at any point, just replay the video or simply drop your doubt in the comment section. I'll be happy to solve it. If you have any suggestions, then also you can put it in the comment section. For more such videos, do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also hit the bell icon and don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Please join me on Telegram. Thanks for watching. Have a good day ahead.